The sun was barely creeping over the horizon on a chilly October morning in 2027 when trouble rolled into my driveway. I was in my workshop, the air thick with the sharp tang of molten steel and the hum of my welding torch, crafting a custom fence for a client in town. My wife, Clara, was inside our modest 15-acre ranch in Willow Creek, Montana, whipping up pancakes for our kids' 10-year-old Ben and 7-year-old Mia. Life felt good, like we'd carved out our own piece of paradise after years of scraping by. We bought this place with my veteran's loan 4 years ago, a quiet haven away from the world's noise. But that peace shattered when I heard the crunch of tires on gravel and looked up to see a sleek black SUV pulling in. Out stepped a woman who looked like she belonged in a corporate boardroom, not on a dusty ranch. Her auburn hair was pulled tight, her tailored suit screamed money, and her smile was sharp enough to cut glass. "You must be Jacob Turner," she said, her voice smooth as honey but with an edge that set my teeth on edge. "I'm Victoria Langley, president of the Crestwood Homeowners Association. I've been eager to meet you and your charming family." I set down my torch, peeled off my gloves, and shook her hand, though something about her made my gut twist. "Nice to meet you, I suppose," I said, keeping my tone even. "But we're not part of any HOA. We bought this land before your fancy subdivision popped up, so your rules don't apply to us." Victoria's smile didn't budge, but her eyes flicked with something cold, like a snake sizing up its prey. "That's why I'm here, Jacob," she said, pulling out a tablet and swiping through what looked like official documents. "Willow Creek has grown, and your ranch is now surrounded by HOA properties. For the safety and value of our community, we need everyone on board." The way she said safety felt like a loaded gun. Her gaze wasn't on might, was scanning my land, lingering on the new shed I'd built, the solar panels by the house, and the irrigation system I'd rigged up. It wasn't neighborly curiosity. It was a predator staking out territory. "I appreciate the pitch," I said, choosing my words carefully, "but we're good. We keep our place tidy, mind our business, and like our freedom." Her smile grew sharper, like she'd expected resistance. "I understand, Jacob, but think bigger. What if there's an emergency? Non-compliant properties drag down everyone's value." She showed me photos of problem properties, normal homes with minor issues like uneven fences or unapproved gardens, but she talked about them like they were biohazards. Clara came out, wiping her hands on a towel, journalist instincts already sniffing something off. Victoria turned on the charm, complimenting our home, but asking odd questions. How deep was our well? Had we tested the soil? Any strange seismic activity? Clara and I exchanged a look. This wasn't HOA small talk. Victoria left us with a thick packet of papers and a friendly 48-hour deadline to join the HOA. "Check Section 8C of the Community Guidelines," she said as she slid into her SUV. "It's enlightening." That night, Clara and I pored over the documents at our kitchen table while the kids watched TV. The contract was a maze of legal jargon, with clauses about emergency assessments and compliance enforcement that sounded like a slow-motion robbery. Clara, ever the researcher, dug into Crestwood HOA online. "This is bizarre, Jacob," she said, her brow furrowed. "No website, no public records, just a bare-bones filing from 8 months ago." Then I saw Ida's signature at the bottom of the HOA letterhead, one I hadn't seen in 15 years, but recognized instantly from a betrayal that nearly broke me. My heart sank. The next morning, a man in a cheap uniform showed up with a clipboard, claiming to be an HOA inspector. His badge looked like it came from a costume shop, but he cited us $600 for non-compliant landscaping because our vegetable patch wasn't pre-approved. When Clara pointed out we weren't HOA members, he shrugged. "All properties in the boundary are subject to fines until you join." By day's end, we had $1,200 in citations. I visited our neighbor, Mrs. Ellis, a 70-year-old widow who'd lived here forever. Her hand shook as she showed me a box of fines and threats from Victoria. "I held out for a month," she whispered. "Then they started talking foreclosure. I paid $3,000 to join." She told me about 2 other ranchers who'd resisted Victoria. One died in a freak tractor accident, another in a house fire. "They weren't accidents, Jacob," she said, her voice barely audible. Clara's research uncovered a pattern. Victoria's HOA had seized 6 properties in a year, all on high ground with water access, sitting atop a massive rare earth mineral deposit worth millions. Our ranch was dead center. These surveys are from 10 years ago, Clara said, showing me maps. But this one, from last year, zeroes in on our land. Someone's been planning this. I found proof on our property disguised core sampling holes near the back fence, fresh enough to suggest recent trespassing. When I caught Victoria watching me through binoculars from the road, she didn't flinch. "Digging up trouble, Jacob," she called out, her smile venomous. "Unauthorized modifications could cost you." Things escalated fast. At dawn the next day, a SWAT team rolled up, rifles trained on our house. Clara clutched the kids, her face pale but fierce. Victoria stepped out of an unmarked car, holding a folder and flanked by a man in a suit flashing federal credentials. They claimed I was an environmental threat and demanded I sign the HOA contract. Ben and Mia sobbed as I signed, my hands shaking. But then Victoria's purse spilled, and among the papers was a photo of me in my army uniform, my face X'd out in red ink. On the back, in her handwriting, Phase 1, create HOA. Phase 2, force membership. Phase 3, seize property. Phase 4, eliminate Jacob Turner. That's when it hit me Victoria Langley was Rachel Carter, my ex from my army days, who'd stolen $10,000 and classified intel, nearly costing me everything. This was personal. Clara and I rallied. She found a loophole in Section 8C. HOA seizures needed a majority vote from real members within 72 hours, or they were void. Victoria's board was just shell companies. Deputy Sarah Klein, who'd looked uneasy during the raid, confirmed Rachel's history: 15 years of scams targeting veterans across 8 states, with at least 10 accidental deaths. At a community meeting Victoria called to smear me, I exposed her with the photo and Klein's evidence. The room turned on her, neighbors sharing their own stories of intimidation. Victoria's mask slipped, her voice dripping with rage. "You'll never win, Jacob," she spat, holding up my contract. "Section 8C gives me your ranch in 48 hours. But Clara's loophole held. Klein tipped off the FBI, who arrested Rachel as she tried to shred evidence. Her fake HOA collapsed, and her seizures were voided. Months later, she got 20 years for fraud, extortion, and targeting veterans. Our community healed, and Clara gave birth to our 3rd child, Lily, a symbol of new beginnings. The mineral deposits secured our future, but the real victory was standing up to a bully who thought she could break us. Here's the thing: Rachel's files showed 10 more veterans targeted nationwide. Her network's still out there. So what do you think? Are HOAs a tool for community or a weapon for control? Have you faced a scam like this? Should veterans get special protections against these predators? Drop a comment, hit that like button, and subscribe to keep these stories alive. Where are you watching from? Let's expose the truth together.